Amen. Amen. The name of our God is worthy to be praised. Amen. Let's pray. Lord, I want to say thank you again.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
For another day and another day's journey. Thank you that it is well with us as it is. Thank you for all that your hands have provided. Now, God, I pray that you take me and hide me behind the cross of Calvary. So these your people may see less of me but more of you. I pray, God, that we might become more than hearers. But we might become doers of the word. We ask it in the mighty, matchless name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. Turn with me to James chapter 5. That's toward the end of your Bible. Ask Hebrews, and you'll find James. If you get to 1 Peter, you won't look too far. James chapter 5, verses 13 to 18. Is anyone among you in trouble? Let them pray. Is anyone happy? Let them sing songs of praise. Is anyone among you sick? Let them call the elders of the church to pray over them and anoint them with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer offered in faith will make the sick person well. The Lord will raise them up. If they have sinned, they will be forgiven. Therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. Elijah was a human being even as we are. He prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3.5 years. Again he prayed, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its crop. These are the words of the Lord. Amen? Amen. 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 We praise God for another opportunity to stand behind this most sacred desk. And before I do that, I want to welcome and introduce a young couple to the New Hope family. And I want newlyweds in the house. Amen. 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 That's always good. Amen. 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 So, Mr. and Miss Chesmeyer, will y'all stand up? All the way from Providence, Rhode Island. All right. All right. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. All right. All right. Amen. Amen. That's my way. She grew up in wow. Amen. God bless you guys. Amen. All right. Today we're going to talk about effective prayer. And I'm going to talk about this because my understanding is that a lot of us pray and sometimes we get answers, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we feel good about our prayers and sometimes we feel as if our prayers have little or no value. And so I wanted to talk to you about not just prayer, but prayer that is effective. There are some people who have the ability to, what we used to say in the old days, get a prayer through. It's evidenced by the fact that when you and I get in real deep trouble, we know who those people are. We seek them out because they are desirable people, because they seemingly have a direct connection with God himself.
Right, right.
So I wanted to share this text with you because perhaps you have come and gotten dressed up today and you feel as if you're not one of those special persons. That God doesn't listen to you like he does his 5-star people. That maybe you don't have what it takes to merit being answered or listened to by God. So I wanted to share this with you because a lot of us do pray, but sometimes, unfortunately, we don't pray correctly. The Bible says you have not because you ask not.
Right, right.
But didn't stop there. It says, but then when you ask wrongly.
Right.
So if there's a wrong way to pray and there's a right way, there must be a wrong way to pray. And then I want to suggest these to you because some people see prayer as arduous, as difficult, as drudgery, as something they do just before they go to sleep. But I want to tell you that you can be effective in prayer. You can be a prayer warrior. You can reach the very throne room of God. I want to share this with you because some of us believe, unfortunately, wrongly, that to become a prayer warrior means that one has to become fanatical, one has to check their brains at the door, one has to be just kind of crazed for Jesus. But I'm not here to change you into a fanatic. I'm not here to change you into somebody who you are not. In fact, the reality is that when God saved you, he did not change your personality.
All right, sir.
I want to be honest with you. When God saved you, he didn't change your personality. When he saved you, many of us, we changed our own personality. But now, no, before you give me a round of applause, let me help you with this. A lot of you were the life of the party. A lot of you stirred everybody's drink. Then when you met Jesus, you became mousy.
Say so, say so.
Hello? It wasn't that God changed. He preferred you to be the way he was when he saved you. But you got so caught up in your salvation that all of a sudden you changed your entire personality. You used to be the person that was, folk wouldn't even start partying until you showed up. You better call girlfriend, you better call home, because if you know when he or she gets here, it's going to happen. Now you come to church. You tired. You're worn out. You don't even have a hot leg. So get a loop. It isn't that God changed you. You change yourself. I wish I had some help here.
Come on, sir.
Some of you remember before Christ, BC.
That's right.
Where you were fighting a minute. Somebody said something you out the way, you didn't ask for an explanation. Now you tell folk, I don't argue religion. You used to argue about everything. Oh, I was so sorry. Y'all won't be fair with me. When God saved you, he wanted that unique personality that you had. He wanted that swag that you had, BC, to be there when you met him and to continue. He didn't want you to become a pew member. Some of y'all, before you met Jesus, you used to run everything, sell everything, have your hand in everything. Now you in church. I'm just trying to help you. Because the metamorphosis, the change that we undergo, is not the change that God prescribed for us. Because if you were talkative, if you were loquacious, if you were always the one in the room who ran his mouth, God expected the same person when he put his spirit in you.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I need some of y'all to go back to where you were. Oh yeah. I'm with Jesus.
All right, man.
I'm gonna hurry, I ain't got but 3 seconds on my 3%. I'm at 3%. Can I do this? There are some things happen in the text. One thing is that James is a great book to learn and to read if you want to know how to practice Christianity. He gets to the end of chapter 5 and he said, let's have a quick review course. And what he says is this. He says that the thing that holds it all together is prayer. So he talks about, is any of you in trouble? And not just sickness, but if any of you in trouble, if any of you are downtrodden. So what he basically says is that prayer, this effective praying, is essential for us, especially if we are downtrodden. Okay? Some of y'all ever feel like you've been walked over?
Yeah.
Felt like things just didn't work out for you the way you wanted them to? You're downtrodden. Maybe, as James will say later, some people are sick. Some people, and understand that a lot of us are going around chasing physical healing. And some of us need spiritual healing.
That's right.
I ain't talking about my boy Marvin Gaye. I'm not talking about that kind of healing. They want to replace the spiritual for you. I'm sorry. But what we need is healing of our spirit.
That's right. That's right.
Because you're chasing a physical healing, but what God sometimes wants to do with us is he wants to heal us spiritually. Because one day, all of us, these bodies, we're going to drop them.
That's right. That's right.
But what remains is the spirit that God gives us. So first of all, he shows us those who are downtrodden. So he said, look here, verse number 30, any among you in trouble, or any among you sick, any of you have a problem, let them pray. So the first appeal is to those who are downtrodden. So what James is really saying is prayer is essential. It's essential for those who are sick, for those who are the down and out, for those who are not where they want to be. He said the best thing you can do is pray.
Right.
Okay? But he doesn't stop there. Look how he pushes the envelope. Then he says, is anyone happy? Okay? So he goes from the downtrodden to the delighted. But he says essentially the same thing. If you're downtrodden, pray. If you're happy, pray.
That's right.
The problem with many of us is that our prayers are really reflective for most of us of where we are with God.
Amen.
Because some of us don't pray unless we have it.
Right.
Did I mess that up? Me, y'all want to pray along? Okay. All right. So here's what happens. Sometimes when we feel good, we act and do good things. When we don't feel well, you know, I had somebody say to me, and I can't figure the logic, but I figured maybe all of y'all here, y'all can help me. Somebody came to me not too long ago in the New Hope Church right here and said to me, Reverend, I've been away from church because I was going through something. And so my thing was, well, hold on. You mean to tell me you were going through something, but you wouldn't go to the place of power?
Hallelujah.
So you chose to go through it by yourself. And then when you felt like you overcame it by yourself, you came back to report to me, well, I'm better now.
Yeah, right.
Can you understand that? There are folk who get sick and will go through everything, and then whenever they feel like they're better, they come back and say, well, I was in the hospital, but I'm okay now. Well, I think if I ever get sick, I want somebody praying for me while I'm sick.
That's me. Amen.
When I'm down, I want somebody to pray for me while I'm down. But when I get up, I don't need, you know.
Come on now. Right.
So here's what he says. He said, whether you are down or whether you're up, pray. So then he says, look here. He talks about the downtrodden. He talks about the delighted, and then he talks about those folk who are designated. Do you know that God has designated people to pray for you?
That's right. That's right.
Amen. You know what gets on my nerve? I mean, y'all know I got a lot of issues, right? But one of the issues I have is that I got issues with folk who go to Facebook and ask their Facebook family to pray for them and won't come to church and say, Pastor, will you pray for them? Oh, y'all ain't like that, right? You better watch your Facebook family, because some of the folk ain't wishing you well, baby. You be saying, pray for me, and then you pray, yeah, Lord, get it. So then what he does is he says, look, if you are sick, call on the elders of the church. Call on the overseers, call on the bishops, call on the pastors, call on the deacons, call on the leadership of the church. Let them lay hands on you and anoint you, and let them pray the prayer of faith over you. Some folk will, you know, I tell y'all that. I'm real careful about who I let touch me. Some folk, if they sweaty, long they sweaty, they think they're anointed. But you better watch who you allow to lay hands on. The Bible says, call for the elders of the church. Let them anoint you and pray over you. Just say it. All right? And then he says, there's another ingredient, okay? We talk about those downtrodden, those who are delighted, those who are designated to pray. But then he says this fourth dimension in prayer is that prayer must be diligent, okay? I want to give to you real quick what I call 4 guidelines for praying. I want to give them to you real quick, okay? First thing I want to say to you, how many of y'all in here are parents? Okay. All right. Pretty good, pretty sizable number of people. Okay? How many of you have worked on a job, ever worked on a job? You know? All right. So let's see the ones who are parents. Let me see your hand. Okay. How many of you been a parent? How many of you have been a child? I'm just trying to get you to raise your hand. I know some of you. Just trying to get you to raise your hand. But here's what I want you to understand. Is that there are 4 things that increase our odds of being effective in prayer. One thing is coming to God and acknowledging sin. Let me see how many parents in the house? Now, suppose your child comes to you and says, look, whatever their age, I don't know, maybe they just want $10. Maybe they want to use the car. Maybe they want to hang out with their friends. Maybe they want to stay overnight. But how many of them would come to you and not have their bed made? I ain't asked you to raise your hand. But as parents, shame on you if you let them have an unmade bed.
That's right.
And you give them the key.
That's right.
Hello?
That's right.
Most of the time when children want stuff from you, and we've seen this up close, so I'm not making this up. We've seen the rooms get cleaned up. We've seen chores get handled. I've even had requests, Daddy, you need anything? Because children understand that if they want something, the best way to ensure getting it is to come before that person correctly. Right? You can't come, you ask somebody for $50, they gave it to you, you never paid them back.
That's right.
And here you gonna come up, hey, can I get another 50? Anybody home?
Right.
Now understand that the way we operate is that we got the image of God in us. And folks wonder, where do we get the sense of value, right and wrong? And all that? We get it from the God who breathed into us. The God who breathed into us said to you, look, it doesn't make sense that you would grant somebody's request who wasn't in right relationship with you. So why would you want God to answer your request if you're not in right relationship with him?
Right.
If you wouldn't do it for your children, why do you think your heavenly Father would do it to you?
That's right.
Oh, Lord. Did you get that? So, if I'm living a sinful lifestyle, it makes no sense for me to pray and ask God to do something. When Psalmist in chapter 66 said, if I regard iniquity in my heart, then God will not hear me. Now, you might hear me publicly pray, but God is not listening to me because, first of all, my sin has separated me from him. I know you bad. I know you didn't come up here to have no black African-American male tell you what to do. I know you grown. I know you take care of your business. But the reality is that God said, I will not hear you if there is sin in your life. Hello? That goes for you, your mom. I'm sorry, that goes for you and everybody. Hello?
All right.
Because we have duped ourselves because we come to church thinking that we got divine immunity, think that we got a God who's going to bless us in our mess. Understand, if I went out here and had an illicit relationship with another woman outside of my marriage and then got out here and asked God to bless me and my family, I would be saying to God, I want to make you complicit in my sin.
Right.
Matter of fact, I want you to condone it. I not only want you to condone it, I want you to bless me. And God is saying, get out of my face. I'm just trying to help somebody. So first of all, we got to deal with our sin issue. Okay? Then on top of that, when we pray, we got to learn to pray in the will of God. I don't care how good he looks. If he married, you don't need to be praying for him.
Right.
I don't care how fine she is. If she belongs to somebody else, God's not going to give her to you. You'd be surprised how many folks say, oh Lord, I shouldn't have been praying for that.
That's right.
Some of y'all wait praying for folks to die so you can get some money. I've been around people too long. They die, you find out they changed the will the week before they die. So I got to deal with sin. All right? I got to pray in the will of God. Now, God says, if you ask anything according to my will, I'll do it.
Right.
Now, if you're not getting answers to prayer, then we've got to ask the question, where's the problem? Is it with me or God? Third thing is that I got to believe that God's going to answer my prayer. You know, some people pray prayers and they do like this. They pray, they say, okay, at 1 o'clock, God, I need this by 1:30. And when 1:30 comes, they say, oh, forget about it. Then tomorrow at 12 o'clock, they say, well, look, God, I really needed what I wanted yesterday at 1 o'clock, and you didn't do it, but will you do it today at 2? 2 o'clock comes by, and they say, well, God, man, I thought you were going to do it. Nothing happened. 3 o'clock comes, oh, Lord, I prayed yesterday. I prayed today, didn't nothing happen. But what happened is, when we waver in our prayers, we can't expect God to answer our prayers. Because one of the things about prayer in the fourth dimension is that we need to be persistent in our prayer. Now, I dare you to tell your child you're going to get them something. I don't care what it is. You think it's insignificant, but if you tell them, look here, Johnny, Susie, you do this, I'll get you that, they will remind you every time you go out. Yes, they will. They will ask you, Mommy, Daddy, hold on, no, you not yet. And don't have little toddlers and young folks and start teaching about Christmas. And you teaching about Christmas in October. And you're going to hear it every day. From now to the 25th of December. Can I open it now? Can I open it now? Can I open it now? No, you can't. You got to wait. You got to wait. Well, I waited yesterday. Jesus said, when you pray, ask. Well, go to Matthew chapter 7 and read the text. It says, keep asking, keep knocking, keep asking, keep seeking, and keep knocking. Here's what some of us do. We ask once, we look under the bed, we knock on the door. And if we don't find it, we're like, this might not been for me. God says, keep asking, keep seeking, and keep knocking. And the reason he does that is not because he's a bad parent. He does the same reason why you do it as a parent. Because you know some things your child asks you for, they're going to run out the door and they're going to forget about it. You done ran the store and brought it and they don't even want it.
That's right.
But when they really want it, they'll keep asking. Brenda and I, back in August, we went on a cruise, and we went to several islands. One was Puerto Rico. We went to San Juan, and just to see the devastation of the place that we had been. But I thought about that, and I thought about the believer's relationship to prayer. When we got on the boat got on the ocean. And really, when you get on the boat, we looking over the balcony and stuff and see the waves, they look like, they were trying to lap up against the boat, but the boat was big, and we just chilling, and, the boat just doing its thing, and so we're having a good time, and the boat's just making its way. Then we get to our port, the first place that we're supposed to go to, and I noticed something, that the water didn't come to us. The water didn't move and say, okay, Perry, to get you to your destination, we're going to go to you. No, the boat got on the water, and the boat started moving toward the destination. And when the boat got closer to the shore, this is what happened. They took an anchor, dropped it in the middle of the water, and then when they got closer to the dock, they took some ropes, and they put the ropes around the dock, and it started pulling the boat closer to the dock. Now, I thought about that, and I said, that's the way prayer is. God doesn't move. God's like the water. He's not moving. But the more you pray, the more you're like the boat. You start getting closer and closer to where he is. Until finally you get to your destination. And the more you pray, the closer you get to the will of God.
All right, sir.
I want to give you a quick acronym. Real quick. All right? And this model I call the model for effective prayer. In Luke chapter 11, Jesus' disciples come to him and ask him, teach us how to pray.
Right.
And Jesus launches into something. I said, well, either he doesn't know how to teach or he doesn't understand prayer. Because he starts telling them a story about a man who had guests come over his house at midnight. And I'm like, I can't understand. What's the relationship between praying and having guests come over at midnight? Jesus said a certain man had guests come over his house at midnight. And he ran out, didn't have enough food to feed his company. So he goes over his neighbor's house in the middle of the night, knocks on the neighbor's door and said, give me some bread. You know what the neighbor said? This Jersey City, I'm sleeping. You need to go to ShopRite. Find a Pathmark somewhere. They got a few of them over. Go to Quick Check. Go somewhere. But the friend, instead of going to the store, he stands at the door knocking early in the morning.
Right.
Now the man said, Jesus said, look, the man does not respond on the basis of friendship. Because he's sleeping, his family's sleeping. In order for him to get up and open the door, he had to wake everybody up. But he says, because this man is so shameless and has no shame to his game, and would ask me pound on my door in the middle of the night, not because we are that tight, but because he has no shame, I'm going to get up and give it to him. Because he understood the only way I'm going to get rid of him. The only way I'm getting back to bed is I have got to grant his request. And the reason, let me help you with this. Because the reason why the man knocked in the first place, because he wasn't like some of us. He did not have an ATM card. He didn't have Visa, he didn't have American Express, he didn't have Diners card, he didn't have even a department store card. He didn't have no money. He had nowhere to go. He didn't have any other friends he could go to. This was not his best chance. This was his only chance.
Right.
So he goes to the friend, knocks on his door in the middle of the night because he has nowhere else to go. Reason why some of us don't pray is because we got other places to go.
That's right.
It's only when the doctor said, I can't do anything. It's only when you run out of resources and your family don't have nothing, your friends don't have nothing, and nobody else can help you. And finally, when you're at rock bottom, when you don't have anywhere to go, you remember that there is a God who sits high and looks low. Let me help you with this acronym real quick. It's real simple. I've taught you before, but it's the word ACTS. A-C-T-S. I'm amazed at how many people want to talk to God, but don't even want to address him as God.
That's right.
You know the chances of you are so much greater when you just simply address people by their name.
That's right.
You know when you say to somebody, hey you, your probability of getting a favorable response is lessened. But if you call them by their name, let me see how, when I was on my way into the military in 1976, I was in an airport in St. Louis, Missouri. I had been on leave. I went through basic training, getting ready to go to Fort Huachuca, Arizona. And I'm in there, and they had some young men there was selling stuff in the airport. And the guy arrested my attention when he says to me, Mr. Perry, like here I am, in the middle of St. Louis, in a major airport, and the guy calls me by my name. He said, Mr. Perry, and he was selling some stuff. Found out later he was from Hare Krishna. I didn't know who they were today, but I'm like, okay, since you know me, I reached in my billfold and pulled out some money and gave it to him. When I got about 10 yards away from him, it dawned on me that he really didn't know me at all. Because my name was on my uniform. But because he called me by my name, he arrested my attention, and I couldn't help but bless him because now I want to help you. How many times folk pray and they don't even want to call God by his name?
Come on, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First thing that we need to understand is when we come to God, we ought to come with adoration. You ought to come to God and remind him that God, the only real reason why I'm coming to you is because I know that my cousin can't do like you do. That you made the heaven and the earth. You punctuated by putting the sun in the sky. You made everything that exists. And because you got all the power, I'm coming to you. God, I know you made me and you breathed into me the breath of life. I want to thank you for being God all by yourself. And let me tell you, it works. Adoration is essential. When we come to God in prayer, we need to come first of all with praise on our lips.
That's right.
Some of us, all we want to do to God is get to asking something, begging him for something. Sometimes you need to just come to God and say, God, I know who you are.
That's right.
I recognize you as being God Almighty. The second thing is confession. The C in Acts is for confession. Let me help you with this. You ever hear folk pray and say, Lord, if I hurt anybody, Lord, if I ever did anything wrong. But first of all, you're alive. That's right. I know nobody else is going to tell you that. But something wrong with you.
That's right.
Because you were born in sin.
That's right. That's right.
Not only that, don't be saying I was born with a problem. You were shaped in iniquity.
That's right.
Not only that, if left to your own devices, all you would do is take care of you.
Right, right,
That's right. That's right.
You messed up, not just from the neck up, from the top down.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So when we come to God, we need to confess our sin.
That's
And
right.
here's how folk confess. Lord, I'm sorry. For what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, you need to tell God what you're sorry. I'm sorry I lied.
That's right.
I'm sorry I told somebody I was going to be there at 9 o'clock, but I
That's
didn't get them
right.
9:30.
That's right.
Hello?
That's right.
You need to confess, because when we confess, confession means in the Greek to agree with. So when I confess my sin, I'm saying about my situation that I agree with God.
Right, right.
A lot of times we want to confess, but we don't want to agree with God. You want to say, well, God, at least I ain't bad as Perry. You know, compared to so-and-so, God. You know, you ought to be happy I even come to church. Them people that got over in New Hope. Oh, Lord. The T. Thanksgiving. Now, when you and I pray, I'm not telling you that this has to be the formula for every prayer. But understand, adoration won't hurt you. Because it doesn't hurt you in the natural when you come to people and you want them to do a favor to say something nice to them.
That's right. That's right.
You ain't coming to me asking me for money by saying, you know, I can't stand your guts, Perry. But could you lend me some money? I ain't gonna see that dollar again. You know, Pastor, I love your sermons, man. You know, I remember, you know, okay, great. You know, I'm feeling flattered. We don't understand that God wants adoration. He says his glory, he won't share with somebody else.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Adoration, confession, thanksgiving. Now, Thanksgiving, we're good at that. You know, we're good at that. The problem is, most of us will get good at Thanksgiving after we get what we want. The trick, though, is when you pray to start thanking him before you get it. Because in the book of Hebrews, it says now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. What that means is this, is that I praise God in advance because I believe that he's going to do it.
Right.
So I don't have to wait until it happens. See, that's a lot of folk in church. I can tell when God been good to them because they shout. But then I'm looking at the other 51 months, weeks of the year. And I wonder, how come they don't praise God? How come they're not jumping up and down? How come they're not going forth with glory? Because they don't understand the relationship of thanksgiving. I got to thank him in good times and bad times. Let me hurry up. Let me hurry to my last point. The last point. The essence of supplication. Now, supplication is not a word that you hear much in English. Lexicon. But to be suppliant, to supplicate, means to ask. So after I have had adoration, after I confess my situation, after I thank God for what he has done and what he's going to do, then I'm in a situation where I can come and ask God for what I want. Hello? So my supplication really should be followed by, it should be preceded by adoration, confession, and thanksgiving. The problem with most of us is we love to flip the script with God. We love to ask for what we want first, and we don't want to confess, and we don't want to give adoration, and maybe we'll give him thanks. And we wonder why our prayer lives are not effective. Let me close with this. The Bible declares in James chapter 5. James uses an illustration from the Bible that was known to all of his readers when he mentioned the name of Elijah the prophet. I mean, Elijah was a bad man. I mean, he went before Ahab the king with one announcement. He appears from Tisbe. He comes out of nowhere. He appears to us in the book of the Kings, the first book, and he appears out of nowhere, and he makes an announcement to the king. He said, it ain't going to rain for 3 years. And then he leaves. Matter of fact, he so bothers Ahab that when Ahab sees him again, he calls him the one who troubles Israel. Because every time Elijah opened up his mouth, it was bad news for the children of Israel. Elijah was a man who God loved and God provided for. When God sent the famine into the land, the Bible said that what God did for Elijah was he opened up a Meals on Wheels plan. Matter of fact, his meals wasn't on wheels, his meals was on wings. He caused the ravens to come every day and bring him meat and food to eat. Matter of fact, the Bible declares that God fed him with food from the ravens. And then when the famine came and God had a brook that was designed especially for Elijah the prophet by cherub. And by the brook, God was sending the ravens to fly in with me. He had his own water supply when everybody else was thirsty. Because the God he served was the God who provided. The Bible declared that God took care of him. One day, the Bible declared that Elijah's brook dried up. When his brook dried up, Elijah wondered, where in the world am I going to go? God said to Elijah, I want you to go to Tyre. I want you to go up north because I've already prepared a widow woman. And she's already got instructions from me to take care of you. Have I got a witness? The Bible declares Elijah goes up there and sees a woman who's a widow, a single parent with her own son, and she has some bread and she's got some meal, some flour, and she's gathering some sticks so that she can make a fire in it. The man of God looks at her knowing that this is famine, knowing that this is a devastated land, and she about to cook something. And here what the man of God said, look at here, woman, feed me first. I know you got bills you can't pay, but take care of me. The Bible said the woman looking at him, well, we about to eat this last piece of food and we're going to die. I'm going to watch my son die because I have no what God says, God will do what he says.
Right.
Have I got a witness? Yeah, the Bible declared that she took care of the man of God, that she had more meal. She had more resources. That her flour, it never ran out. But let me fast forward. The Bible declared that Elijah met up with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. On Mount Carmel, there were 400 prophets of Baal and 450 prophets of the grove. And they were there and they were praising God, praising the God of Baal. And the Bible said that Elijah came and raised the issue to Israel and said, how long are y'all going to be halted between two opinions? If God is God, serve him. If Baal is God, we're going to serve him. And Elijah said, we're going to have a showdown on Mount Carmel. The Bible said that Elijah said to them, look at here, get you a sacrifice, get you a bullock, get you a ram, and put it on the altar. And the God who answers by fire will be the one that you and I are going to serve. Well, I got to fast forward, but I wish you'd go home and read it. The Bible said that the prophets of Baal called on Baal all day long. And Baal didn't answer their cry. Elijah began to taunt him and said, maybe he's on vacation. Maybe he's hard of hearing. They began to cut themselves. They began to cry in loud voices. But the Baal didn't hear. And finally, just before the sun was going down, Elijah said, y'all had all day. Said, now, let me have the altar. Elijah said, I know water is scarce. I know we're in a famine. But take all the water y'all can find. And I want y'all to douse the sacrifice with water. I want you to take all the water that's available. And you can see folks looking at him and say, he must be out of his mind. We got a water shortage, and he dousing the sacrifice with water. He filling up the altar, the trenches with water. Water was wasting all over the place. And the Bible said that Elijah stood up in front of them and said, look at here, I'm only doing this for your benefit. He said now, he looked toward heaven and said, God, I know you always hear me. But because I'm down here and somebody don't believe, God, will you show up? And before he could finish his word, fire came down from heaven, burnt up the sacrifice, licked up all the water off the altar. And I heard Elijah took his sword and began to kill all of the prophets of Baal. But let me tell you something, when you start praying, the devil, he gonna get mad. The devil gonna get upset. Jezebel heard that Elijah had killed all of them. 400 prophets of Baal and 450 prophets of the grove. And one day she lost 850 prophets. And she sent a text message to Elijah, the man of God. Hit him up on instant messenger, hit him on Facebook, put him on social media, and said, by this time tomorrow, I'm going to do to you worse than what you did to my prophet. Come on now. Have I got a witness? The Bible says that when Elijah heard this, he started running for his life. He ran from Jezebel because Jezebel had put out a warrant for Israel. Jezebel had threatened him with his own life. The Bible said he ran and he tried to get as far away from her as he could. But I come to tell y'all good news. Well, what's the good news? Well, the Bible said you can pray just like Elijah. Because Elijah was a man just like you. He was human just like you. He had flaws just like you. He got scared just like you. He got depressed just like you. But the Bible said that Elijah prayed and it didn't rain. Have I got a witness? You don't have to be a super saint. You don't have to have magical power. All you got to do is learn how to pray. Have I got a witness? brother. Jesus. My elder brother. Jesus. My divine advocate. Jesus. My heavenly brother. Jesus. My way out of nowhere. Jesus. My only know. Are you all right? All right. Oh, yeah.
Jesus, my friend. Jesus, my friend. Yes.
You're here today. And you need to stop telling people that you're lucky.
That's right. That's right.
See, what happens to me happens by divine appointment. I don't just happen to be anywhere. It's not coincidental that stuff happens. The God of heaven and earth
Yes.
wants to answer your prayer.
That's right.
Adoration, confession,
That's right.
thanksgiving,
That's right.
and
Yes,
supplication.
it is.
If you can remember that,
That's right.
you got a real simple model
That's right.
for how to pray.
That's right.
If you can't remember that, remember the 4 C's:
Yes.
country,
Uh-huh.
community,
That's right.
church,
That's right.
and children.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But remember. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Prayer changes lives.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. I know.
See, you better stop asking God to change people,
That's right. That's right.
because the changes just might need to happen in you.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
I want to extend you this great invitation to come to Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
You can come just the way you are.
Yes, it is.
By letter under your experience as a believer, candidate for baptism. If not now, when? If not you, who? You come.